Warren Horst again in the shotgun. Four receiver look. Sends a guy in motion. Looks to his left. Firing that way. Nice catch along the sideline.
Welcome to Moneyball. Today I have with me Mike Rigerman. How are you today, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Mike is an NFL prospect. I'm real excited to have on the show. He is from the University of Findley, and Mike is a tight end, fullback / tight end. Mike was fortunate enough to actually have just been to Pro Day over at the stadium at the field house with the Bills. So talk to me, man. It's getting down to that point, right? We got a couple weeks. Are you getting excited? What do you think the chances are, and what type of feedback have you been getting?
I guess my goals for myself, everybody wants to get drafted, but I'm just, hoping that somebody gives me an opportunity to go prove myself and prove that I belong in the NFL, of course. I mean, not from a big high school D2 guy, I didn't try to set my bar too high where I'm upset. So I'm trying to just be a little realistic with myself. But, we're just hoping for that shot to be in a camp one day.
I've watched some of your film. I've seen some of the comparisons. I saw Kyle Juszczyk, a couple other comparisons. You look more to me like a little bit smaller George Kittle.
Yeah.
That's your comparison to me. And I'll tell you what, I've never met you. I haven't seen the hair. I haven't seen the style up until now, but I'm telling you what, you kind of ring that bell too. I think Kittle's a little taller, right? He might be 6'5". But the way I saw you play is he's kind of got his own style, man, where he just refuses to get tackled. He's okay to go up and take a concussion, and the style of play is what I noticed. You got great hands. What would you say if there was a team watching this right now? I know you had your pro day. If there was a team watching this, what are your top couple, in your opinion, the top couple talents you could bring to a team?
I would say a guy that's not pretty, but I'm very consistent in my play. I like to dive into playbooks and understand things a little bit deeper than, most guys, at least at my level. I like to understand who I'm going against, what his basic, moves are, what I can get him with, and, what he falls like victim to when he makes, an MA, which would be like a missing assignment, or where I can get him where I'm leveraged and stuff. So, when it comes to style of play for myself, I kind of like to just push myself to the next limit in a way where I can, be ahead of my opponents.
Yeah.
And to bring that to the table for a team is a lot, because some guys, they just like to play. Whereas I like to understand the game a little bit more, because I do love this sport and I get it. We're at the professional level. So everybody loves the sport and everybody wants to understand its ins and outs. But I really think I bring somebody that's pretty consistent in what they do. And I'm also my biggest attribute that I've been told is I'm a very hard worker. I like to outwork everybody in the room. I always like to prove that I can go just as hard as the hardest guy in the room. So a guy that works hard, will always take coaching, always wants to get better. I feel like that's something that I bring to the table. Whereas, I'm not expecting myself to come in and be a starter, but I am, expecting to, get better and push everybody else around me when I come in,
Sure. No, it's a very cerebral answer, man. And I give you a lot of credit for having, now a lot of that's going to be your upbringing. You're from Arcade, New York. I've never met anyone from Arcade or out Pioneer or any of that area that doesn't work hard, and you guys absolutely should pride yourselves on that, man. If you're not driving a tractor or out on a farm, you're playing ball, right? Whether it's baseball or football. So a lot of respect for you guys out there. Tell me what the steps are. And again, I love your attitude with not being overly, almost stimulated by it. But what are the steps if, in fact, you didn't get drafted? What would be the next steps? How does it work for anyone listening who might not know how that stuff works?
So I don't know too much, but I know if you don't get drafted, there's a period after the draft where there's the free agency where, you can be marked a priority free agent or just a free agent, just, based on where you are in the team's rankings and whatnot.
Okay.
But as far as I know, you get that opportunity then to go to OTAs and rookie mini camp and stuff like that. And then you go to rookie camp. And I think that from there, it's decided, obviously on the organization, we'll go from there.
Is there such a thing as walking on? Like, you've seen in that movies, whatever that one is with Mark Wahlberg, where the Eagles needed players in the, where you can walk on and try out. Is that even a thing anymore?
I don't know if that technically counts as like the local day I did, if that's how you do it. I don't know if
No.
you had to get like an invitation. So I don't know if they do tryouts anymore. I really haven't heard anything about it.
Now, how was it when even, getting that call, even to an invite like that, right? That had to be super exciting. Like, hey, this hard work's paying off. There's people noticing me. How did that go down? Did someone call you, or did they email you, or how'd that work?
So after my pro day, my agent was in town, so he was here, talking to scouts and stuff and giving me some feedback and some, acknowledgments and whatnot. And then the next morning he said, good news, you got accepted into the Bills local day, and sent me over the email and everything with the information and stuff. And, it was a nice, like, I had a good day at the pro day. Now I've got this coming. Like, it just felt like good things were stacking up, and all the work that I've been putting in over the years and all, just finally felt like it was really paying off.
That's awesome to hear. I'm a big, big, big believer in karma and hard work paying off, and kind of, just goes around, comes around. How did they have everything set up in there? Was it almost like a mini combine? Did you guys run a 40? Did you do reps and stuff? How was that set up?
So when we got there, you had check-in and stuff. We had waivers and stuff we had to sign, but then it was get ready, and then we had measurements, just like basic height, weight, hand, arm, wingspan, and everything. And then those who chose to run a 40 ran a 40, and then we went into drills. So it wasn't like you had to run it. Like, I think there was only 4 guys at the local day that ran it.
Okay.
And there was about 12 to 15 guys there in total. So.
Well, like I said, they thinned the herd, bro. I mean, that's not a lot of people that were there. Trust me, and it's from all over the area, including I want to say Rochester and stuff too. So, did you run the 40?
No, I chose not to at the local day.
Why do they, like, for anyone again who's not in this world? Why do some athletes choose to run the 40 and some not? Why do some choose to throw if you're a QB and some not? What are kind of the nuances behind that, or the thought process behind that?
At least, like, I can really only speak on my perspective of like the things, because like obviously you're told different. Everybody's told something different, in this. I had ran my 40, a couple weeks ago at my pro day, and it was. And at my pro day, they took like the average of your times, because like obviously it's like all 32 teams are there and whatnot, so they took a little average. So it's like they have the times. Every scout has their times, and my agent, was like, you can run it if you want, but you don't necessarily need to. And then obviously I'm still in Ohio, so like I'm here working out at my school, training with, the stuff that I've had for the last, 5 years. So I'm back here now. So the weather wasn't really favorable for training outside this last week. It was pretty rainy and not so nice. So I was like, yeah, I haven't really been able to like hit it the way I want to. So I don't want to go in there and have, the better number. I don't want to get, a worse time and make it, okay, maybe this guy can only peak out at one time. Like, I don't want it to be like that, even though I know I'm not like that. So I was just like, I'm gonna stick with the position drills, stuff that's I was able to still work on and still able to do inside and whatnot. So that was just my thought process through the thing. But from like hearing other people's stories, they'll be told, like, maybe not be told, but like maybe it's just not in their best favor. Maybe like it's not gonna help them raise their stock. So
but it could potentially hurt them, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's never going to help, but it could hurt.
Yeah. So it's like, if you have an expectation and it's not met, then it's like, okay, maybe he isn't who we thought he was.
Okay.
But if
that makes sense.
Yeah. And you beat the expectations, then it's like, okay, he's already exceeding our expectations. So now we got to see a little bit more or something,
Were you playing, I got to ask you, when you started at Finley, were you fullback? Did you go in as fullback?
Yeah, that's the position I started learning first, because when I came in as a freshman, we had a tight end. His name was Luke Stufel. He was a NFL prospect at the time before his, injuries and stuff, which kind of sucked, but that's just football. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But he was there, and he was an NFL prospect, so they wanted me to just stick with the H-back stuff, like the fullback off the ball stuff, And then by the end of camp, I was the 2 tight end, and I was able to do both. So it was like when they needed somebody to do it, I was asked to do it. So I just that's how I kind of started doing the tight end fullback hybrid kind of deal thing here is they needed a guy to play both positions. So I was like, okay, well, I can handle the load of learning both positions. And then obviously the coaches here, Coach Allen, he's from our area and everything. So he believed in me and he told me like, hey, you gotta learn both these positions and whatnot. So if I can dive into my playbook, I can be a great player. So he had a lot of belief in me coming in, and I just helped to prove him right on that. That he took a bet on a guy from Western New York and it paid off.
I'll tell you what, if the teams were smart, right, and I've been saying this for a little while, the fullback has become, some teams use them, some teams don't, right? There's some teams that don't even roster a fullback anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's always smart to have your fullback up in front of the tailback. Myself personally, and tried and true, I guess, with certain teams, depends on your scheme. But to have the ability, I've never really seen a hybrid fullback tight end that was truly used.
Impulse is revolutionizing the physical therapy experience for active individuals in Western New York. From marathon runners to warriors of the weight room, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge technology takes sports-specific testing to the next level. Our patient-centered approach lets you drive your own recovery. You can expect individualized one-on-one sessions every time you're here. And the game changer? Impulse is home to Western New York's only public board-certified sports PT. If you're ready to get back in the game, call Impulse today and mention Moneyball for $100 off your first visit.
That way, right? Where you could be in the game set up as a fullback, but truly have hands that good or block that well, that you'd be used where they don't know how to, they almost have to spy you, right? So you'd almost have to, instead of spying the QB, you got to spy this fullback / tight end because you don't know what he's going to do. So, and I've seen your film and I've seen what you can do, man. And I'll be honest, I think that could be a role for you. And you seem like somebody, who just needs a shot to get out there, man. I'm certainly rooting for you. I really am.
Appreciate it.
From Finley, has there been any pro athletes to come out of Finley, whether it be NFL or anywhere else?
Yeah. So actually just a couple of years ago, we had a receiver named Jason Moore. He played at the Chargers, got in a couple games, made the active roster a couple times, was in practice squad and stuff. He's actually the best. He's technically got like almost all the receiving records here. I know he's got receptions and yards and all that. He was pretty good. And then a couple of years before that, I think 2014, 2015, we had a guy named Harold Jones-Corte who played safety for the Bears, actually won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, I think.
Yeah, I do know that name,
Yeah, so he came from here. Those are the two that I know of. I don't really know of anybody past, before that time because I was, just like a little kid at that time. But we also had a guy sign with the Cardinals right before COVID. But when COVID happened, everything was just messed up. And then obviously this year we have me and my O-lineman teammate Mike Jarrell, who's a big prospect too as well.
Awesome. I'll tell you the same exact thing I tell my kids. I have 3 little boys, and I say, they say whoever their hero is, right? Ronald Acuna Jr., man, I want to be just like, and I say, no, you don't want to be, another Ronald Acuna Jr. You want to be the first Deacon Scott, right? So you want to be Michael Rigerman, right? I mean, you can maybe blueprint your game, right, from Kittle or whoever. But you want to set the tone as the first, Mike Rigerman, man. You want to be the guy that other kids have posters for in their room. And, when you come from Buffalo in a smaller, there's been some football talent, right, that's come out of here. Not a ton. I mean, I've interviewed a bunch of guys. Hopefully you've watched the show, where you've seen a lot of guys and coaches. And I always bring up Freddie, man, because he's so proud of that college thing, right? But even some guys that are practice squad and things like that are kind of waiting on standby. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just getting yourself in, right? Get yourself a contract where you're on the practice squad, couple $100,000, and then you're on standby. Because I'll tell you what, there's been so many practice squad players where you never want anybody to get hurt, right? But if you're on that practice squad, man, and someone does, and they ring they tag you in, and you're ready, and you go and press, that's it. Yeah. You just need your break, man. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I just want to reinforce that, because I've heard it so many times from people who almost thought they didn't have a shot. But I don't know, man. I got a good feeling about you. You're a humble dude. You kind of, it looks like you bring your lunch pail, in with you, and you're ready to just go knock heads if you need to, or be a teammate if you need to, man. So That's cool. Couple of fun questions, man. I always like to get into. If you order a pizza, what are your toppings you're getting on it?
I got two very,
All
not
right.
unique, but buffalo chicken for sure.
Okay.
And then just plain old pepperoni. Those are probably my two favorite pizzas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you like it, you got to do the buffalo, the cupped pepperoni, right?
Yes.
You got to do it burnt, cupped. What's your go-to for wings in Buffalo or in the area?
Like place or just style?
Place.
I like I like the Anchor Bar a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I like going there. Bar Bill.
Okay.
I like that. And then
Right
we
on.
got a hometown spot in town. It's called John and Mary's that my parents always get. And I
Yeah, I
always
like Mary's. Yeah. Yeah.
that's I
One of my sponsors is Elmo's, and I'm not just saying this. But their wings are phenomenal, man. Actually, remember Khalil Mack went to UB,
yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
big time player. He kind of put Elmo's on the map when he was going to UB. They have these double dipped Cajun wings, and that's why I tried them, to be totally honest. And I fell in love with them, man. If you ever get the shot, or I'll take you out there or whatever. But definitely Elmo's. Check out their wings because they're right up there with any of the best. What right now is in your, if I was to grab your ear pods and put something, just hit play, what would be in right now?
Oh boy.
Prince and the Revolution?
No, it'll probably be either some NBA YoungBoy or
Okay.
Drake or Future, somebody like that.
All right.
I kind of got a variety. I don't just have one artist in a row. I like to get a variety, so I'll put them strategically in an order where it's like, okay, I'm listening to them at different times, so it's not hip hop and like R&B. I guess I like a little bit more of a relaxed vibe. Sometimes I like,
Okay.
you can't always listen to rap and hip hop all the time. You gotta.
Oh, I agree. You got to slow it down. You gotta nice for the ladies, maybe a little weekend or something,
Yeah, I like a bit of R&B while I'm just relaxing, just chilling with the boys or something. Just put some good soul music on or something that we're listening to. Just to
What
relax.
I just recently got into, man, if you want to chill out, like really just relax, is like some Miles Davis, like some jazz. I'm telling you, try it out. If you're having a rough day or stressed out or whatever, you put that stuff on, puts you in a different mindset, man. And it's just like, whatever's going around you, and then you're done, you take that off and you're like, oh, all right. It change. I'm telling you, man, you got to try it out. Changes your mood completely.
Hey, I'm down to give it a try.
This was fun. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad I got to know you a little bit. I can't wait now for the draft. And it's almost one of those things. I've been trying to look, and the mock drafts are so crazy when you get into the later rounds because they're just taking wild guesses. I saw your name. Listen, you're out there. You're definitely getting recognized. It's not like it's, you're not irrelevant, bro. You're out there, and I'm telling you, I got a really, really good feeling. So I wish you nothing but the best, bro. I truly do. In whatever you do, and obviously we'll keep in touch. But let's hope that you're in an NFL uniform within the next year or two.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm really hoping for it. I'm praying for it every day.
I'll be watching for you, brother. Take care. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you. No problem.
All right, man. Have a good one. Good night.
Yep.